in that moment, because you talked about affirmations, visualizing. So it's one thing to tell yourself that because you consider yourself the great. You that's your name, the great, and everything that is out there about you, anything that you could find, that's what it supports that. You're fifth longest jumper of all time, greatest jumper of all time, all of that. So you're the greatest. It's a fact. But it's one thing to tell yourself that. With you embody it, you exude it, you share that. Like, people can see that, okay, this person is successful. But how do you think that others can connect the dots?
I think they can connect the dots by, it's a very simple but yet very difficult thing, is by believing in yourself. And you can't partially believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself with every ounce of your soul. There's a very deep connection of belief that you have to have in order to be your very best. And being realistic with yourself. And, people thought I was just unreasonable until I made them, believe in me. Like my senior year, when coach told me that I can make the Olympic team, I believed it. It was nothing else anybody I needed to hear. My mom could have told me I'm not worth it. My dad, it didn't matter, because I had one person that says, I believe you can do it. And he really believed it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I talked about it so much that I was the ongoing joke on the team. You know, all year, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make the team. People, and they would later tell me like, hey man, we got so much respect for you, because like, man, we used to clown you so much. You talked about you were gonna make the team, and all of us like, man, this dude is just unrealistic. He's so unrealistic. But I really believe all the way to the core. I didn't need them to believe in me. I didn't need them to tell me that I could make, because I believed it already within. And when I made it, and many years later, I had probably 50 of them tell me like, hey bro, like for real, like we are super Dwight Phillips fans, because everything that you said, it manifested. And you weren't afraid to win or lose. You took a lot of L's, but once you started winning, you dominated to the end. And that really meant a lot to me, that I can, you know, show them that with the power of manifestation.
Yeah, because I asked that because in 2002, it looked like something switched. Like there was a light bulb that went off, something, because after that, you were dominant. World championship after world championship. And I think it's important to acknowledge that it didn't just happen off the bat. You weren't the greatest the first time you stepped on the Olympic team, but there was something that, you went over that hump. And then from then, it was just like, I'm the greatest of all time. Ultimately, definitively, period.
Woo!
That's
Yeah.
how I felt. Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt. And even after a few couple down years after the Olympics, I would say 2000, really 7 and 8, when there was a kid that began to take over. His name was Irvin Saladino. And I'll never forget this. In 2004, I signed his autograph, because I just don't forget anybody. He came, he didn't speak English, say, Philip, autograph. So I looked at him, and I looked and I signed the autograph. I was like, where you from? He said, Panama. And I was like, okay.
Mhm.
So he used me as motivation.
Yeah.
I signed his autograph. I imagine he put it up all around his wall and say, this is the person I'm going to beat. And he did that. And he dominated for 2 years. But the great had to take it back from him.
The great had to come back.
The great couldn't just let him dominate for 2 years now. So I had to take it
Mhm.
back from him. But it's a friendly reminder that you just can't take your foot off the gas. You can't assume that you're just gonna walk on the track and people are just gonna give it to you. Nah, it doesn't work like that. You got to continue to work hard, and I adopted the mentality. Some people say to be number one, you train like you're number two. I said, nah. To be great, you got to train like you're unranked, like nobody knows your name.
To be
Mhm.
great, train like you're unranked, and no one
I
knows
like
your
that.
name. I like that. And yeah, you're right. And I like this. This stuff is transferable. It's not just track. You know, you're right. He probably did put your autograph up on his roof. And that's what it takes. You know, I mean, the job that you want, the position that you want, whatever you're trying to accomplish, put it up on the roof, put it up on the wall. Remember it. Look at it every day. You know, this stuff becoming successful, it's like you said earlier, and I wanted to touch on it when you said it earlier. It's like you make a decision, a conscious decision. I'm going to be the best. And then every single day, you weigh the choices that you make against that decision. And so I can't say I want to be the top chef and I don't own any cookbooks and I don't have a apron, I don't have a spatula, and I'm not reading and researching and looking every day. And so if I want to be the best, if you want to be the great, you know, it's every day. What are you eating? How are you sleeping? You know, are you going over your footage? Are you really becoming a student of what you're saying is your craft? And so this stuff is not just athletics. You know, we look at athletes because athletes are the ones who, I mean, you can see it. You can see when they're going through this, when they're like, I'm going to win. And if they're exuding it and it's clear. But this is, to me, you know, this stuff is life in general. And so, you know, I love hearing the stories because people can relate to it. Like, oh man, that's really what it took. Like you were about to give up. You were like, I'm just second and I'm, you know, I can't win. And you're like this close. And sometimes things are so hard and we're so close and you just like, I'm going to give up. It's too hard, but that's when you have to just endure. So I love hearing it, man. The story is just motivational, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So your brand is the Winner Circle. And from your story, we can definitely see where you adopted that from. But can you tell us a little bit more about your philosophy and what the Winner Circle is about?
Well, the Winner Circle is about just, you know, bringing together a group of people who just have a desire to be their very best and to give the best efforts to become a student of their craft. And if you can do those things, like everything else will manifest accordingly. And I started it because, you know, winning, I have acronyms for days, but, you know, I just say winning is non-negotiable in life. And it's just not about the sport of track and field. It's about using sports as a platform to be great at everything that you do. Like if we say that we're going to go out, like you said, and be a chef, we don't want to be the top sous chef. We want to be the top chef. We want to be the very best at whatever we're going to do. Because at the end of the day, you want to look back on your career and you don't want to have the coulda, woulda, shoulda type of attitude, which unfortunately I've had a lot of friends and family members, you know, they live by that. And I can just see the disappointment. You can feel that disappointment of just, man, I wish I should have. Like, it's the worst thing in your life you can live by because after those moments are gone, there's no going back to it. So within the Winner Circle, we just try to not live by the coulda, wouldas. We just give it everything we have right now. We become students of the game. Yeah, everybody just got to try to be their best and give their best efforts. And then when they're done with the sport, they don't have to say, I could have tried harder. I should have just gone to this track meet, or if I would have committed myself to better physical therapy or taking care of my body, I could have done this. Like, no, we're just going to do it now. And then if you fall short, at least you can say we gave it everything we had, because I told you I love the acronyms. And, you know, I call you got to work hard, identify your goals, and never give up. That's another win. Working hard, never giving up.